My lower expectations for this week's top 10 card sales, December 23rd to the 30th of 2023, have been shattered. That's right, everyone. In today's video, I'm going to show you some very interesting card sales and card selections of what Magic the Gathering players are buying right now. So stick around. We have so much to cover in so little time. Starting out the list this week at number 10 is Entish Restoration. Now, this card may have lower sales volumes than you would expect, 1,496 sales, which is a total sales volume of $1,645. But you have to ask this question, why is it back on the list? What has made this card resurface after several months of being off of the top 10? It is the reprinting of the card in the gift bundle editions, guys. When they gave us those gift boxes with all the fancy new cards and great framework, this price started to go down, making it more affordable for players to buy this card. And when you're suppressing card prices and allowing players to get cards they wanted but didn't want to pay $3, $4, or $5 for, that is a win-win in most players' eyes, and they're taking advantage of the lower price point. That doesn't mean it won't bounce back at some point, but right now it's a very desirable card. Now, number 9 this week, we have the Troll of Khazad-dûm. This troll, remember, it was like $3, $4, and now it's down to $1. Again, the exact same situation as the Entish Restoration. That 1,872 sales represents $1,872. But instead of buying cards for $3, $4, you're buying them for $1. The market price is 62 cents. When you get cards this cheap and you get a Swamp Cycling card for $1, this is a crazy card for players to get their hands on for a lot of different formats they want to use it in. And paying less than $1 a copy means thousands of copies have started to move again. It was on the list last week, but before that it had been off the list for months. So again, it's the exact same thing. When the price is at the right point and players were still kind of interested in the card, they're willing to cash in a bit. Yes, there could be some speculators in this market space, but at this price point, anyone can get in at this price. Now, our number 8 card is Black Market Connections. Okay, this card, of course, is one of the best cards to come out of the D&D set, and this card inside the Commander deck of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan has it just hitting a high point. This card had 2,086 sales in the secondary market, which is a total sales volume of $33,104. Guys, that's a lot of money moving. And that's not the sealed product. That is, strictly speaking, the secondary market of singles. If we include the sealed Commander decks, our number would actually be a lot higher. The fact that this card has been reprinted, though, has slashed the price down, and I bet you in the next little while this card's going to fluctuate laterally. We're going to see more of these Commander decks selling because at that price point, players are willing to crack it open just to get this card. Keep your eyes on it because Wizards needs to cut back on reprints and keep allocations tight. This card actually might rebound higher than players expect. Now, when we're jumping down to the number 7 card this week, we've got the Tidebinder making itself known again. This card was off the list entirely last week. The sales were too low, but as the price has gone laterally and kind of settled in where it went from that $20 kind of high point, it's kind of drifting down. When you see it hitting 14 to 15 bucks week after week, that also means players' mindsets toward the card change. They become more accepting that the fact the price is not slipping, it's not going up, which means you feel more comfortable buying a card, and that really became apparent in this week's sales volumes. Players went out there and started buying it, started, deciding that this was the right, price point for them to add this card to their deck construction. Whether in standard, whether in modern, no matter where they're playing it, the overall sales just came out of nowhere and charged to the forefront. That's $30,700 plus of sales volume. That is a crazy number to see for this card, considering it got knocked off the list entirely in last week's video. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the number 6 card. And we're talking about the version I'm about to show you, which of course is Ogier, right? Now, this is the showcase version though, because as the price has fallen, people do start to pick up the versions they think are the coolest looking, and this artwork has a lot of players desiring it. Now, 2,321 sales takes the number 6 spot, sure, but the total sales volume of only $18,521, it's still a ton of money, but when you look at how far the price has fallen on this card, and considering how much legendary creature god play this thing gets, I'm seeing it all over Arena in various decks. So I'm surprised the price has actually dipped down this low. I'm not expecting the price to rebound at all. I'm expecting players to just enjoy the card, and maybe we'll see an uptick in about the 90-day mark when people really stop opening the product. Let's go ahead now and drop down to our number 5 card, and out of nowhere, we are getting the Rockfall Veil. Guys, I'm surprised to see the card making the list, but we saw the Storm Carved Coast last week, and this one here, 2,445 sales, total sales volume of $3,000. The market price of $1.26. You know, when you take the average versus the market, like the 98-cent versus the average of the $1.26, you can see it's just a really cheap card. And of course, it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. So guys, as your turn 3, if you had this in your hand, it doesn't come into play tapped. We know how popular Commander is. A lot of players are desiring this card and deciding to buy it because it's just so dirt cheap. Okay, which actually leads to another problem in Commander. I'll probably discuss it in a later video, but the fact that everyone can get everything so cheap means every Commander deck seems to start looking the same for mana bases and some key cards. It's almost like you're only deciding your deck based on like 30 cards now. It's kind of silly, but I'll do another video with it. Now, okay, guys, Minas Tirith is still here. If you can believe it, another Lord of the Rings card takes the number 4 spot, 2,456 sales, 9,820 bucks, okay? The fact this card is still here is one thing, but the fact it's actually starting to gain sales volumes and we're seeing consistency means players are buying it. We know, okay, we can see the actual numbers and say it doesn't matter if your store doesn't actually have this card in stock or if it's out of your local LGS or it's on wish lists. This is where it's selling. It's $4 a card as the market price, and players are saying they want the card, okay? Being able to draw a card, but sure, activating only if you attack with 2 or more creatures. In all these soldier decks we're starting to see appear in Commander, it's not a surprise that this card is selling the volumes it is because it's just so dirt cheap, making this card a very desired addition to your deck construction, okay? Let's go ahead now. Let's take a look at our number 3 card this week. And again, the numbers are going to get a little wonky, guys, as we get closer. So when you take a look at the number 3, it's Esper Sentinel, guys. Modern Horizons 2. This is a $28 card that is primed for a reprint, and players bought 2,598 copies. That is $73,000 plus of sales volume for the Esper Sentinel. Now, in case you guys forgot, when this thing came out in Modern Horizons 2, it was like a $15, $16 card, jumped up to like 20, 30 bucks, kind of drifted back down, and it's been consistently going across the board. This makes it a prime reprint for Wizards of the Coast to add to Modern Horizons 3 in a special, artwork framework. Either way, this is reprint equity they're more likely to tap into. I have a video coming up in another week or so, guys, that I'll kind of tap into this and talk about some of these cards you probably shouldn't be buying right now, but Esper Sentinel is one of them. But it didn't matter because players bought it anyway. And a reminder, guys, that if you're buying any of these cards and you're shopping on TCG Player, I hope you will consider using my affiliate link found in the description of all of my videos. You look at my most recent videos, click the link in the description. It'll take you to TCG Player for your shopping experience. Now, the number 2 card is Path of Ancestry. This is a great card, but again, it's very linear. You're going to see a lot of these starting to appear in Commander decks. 2,709 sales. It's a 20-cent card. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool of your Commander's color identity. When that mana is used to cast a creature spell, sure, you get to scry 1. Great. But the fact you can get any color mana, and this thing's a common, just means it's only 541 bucks, guys. I hope they never print the card again. Let this card rise in value. It's an amazing card. It desires to be $1 or $2, and it's not going to get there if they keep just hammering home and making everybody's Commander decks look the exact same, thinking that's what players want. I think it's a mistake, but that's just me. Now, before we get to number 1, I want you guys to understand something. This card at number 1, it shouldn't be here, but it is. Lord of the Rings taking the top spot with Orcish Bowmaster. That's right, guys. This card is $45. 2,765 sales. $124,480.30 were spent on the Orcish Bowmaster this week. Yes, that's Boxing Day sales. That's crazy stuff going on. But this card is being bought like hotcakes. Players are desiring it. They're picking up, they're buying it. And they spent so much money, it blows my mind. Because a card like this we know is going to get a reprint makes me wonder why players were doing it. Sure, it could be trade-in. Sure, it could be other things. But either way, the sales volume on that card gives me a lot of pause to where Wizards of the Coast will go with reprints. Be careful with your money. Make sure you're getting the play time and the excitement you want out of your card because you're spending a lot of cash to do it. Now, we're going to do a roundup and a wrap up of this video of what we've seen in the market and some cards you probably need to be mentioned. Some of those sales numbers are truly phenomenal things to see. Orcish Bowmaster, Entis Restoration, Minas Tirith, so many Lord of the Rings cards popping back onto the list. Yeah, with a smattering of other cards from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. But the overall value we're seeing means players spent a lot of money. You wouldn't even know that we were in the troubled times we are in the world based on those sales volumes, because some of those numbers at those price points reminds me of stuff we saw in 2020 and 2021 here on the top 10. So when you look at these numbers and you see them, you know the Wizards of the Coast is also paying attention. They have much more accurate numbers than I can produce on my own. They got a whole team, the economic team, that will be looking at these things and saying, oh, look at the Esper Sentinel. Look at the Orcish Bowmaster. Look at the values of the Black Market Connection. Look where these cards have been selling. Look at the volumes they're making and how can we use this in a future product or a future price point. Maybe we're going to hold back and let these cards rise in value or make more connecting cards to these cards to make them that much more playable and desirable. Remember, it is a manipulated market that they control all the keys to the doors. They can do what they want and they can play on the heartstrings of players with the concepts and ideas that we like to play with as players. So keep that stuff in mind. Enjoy your cardboard because it is an amazing game, but these numbers freak me out a bit when I see those high price points moving in the singles market for modern cards. I'm surprised I didn't see Ragavan here, but it didn't quite make the list, and neither did Dockside Extortionist, but they were close enough that I have to mention them in today's video. A lot of high-priced cards are moving. And don't forget, tomorrow, guys, we have the reserve list top 10. If you think these numbers were crazy, you wait till you see that reserve list top 10. It is going to blow your mind. The money moving in the market that's slushing around on Boxing Day week is freaking me out. Guys, thanks a lot for hanging in here. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. And of course, thanks again to everyone who enjoyed today's content. Hit the subscribe button and join this channel and our amazing conversations about Magic. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. And don't forget, the Saturday edition of this is going to also be our live stream. We have to do it tonight because tomorrow is, of course, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and I'll be with my family. So it'll be a Saturday live stream, which means tonight at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'll be here, guys. Looking forward to talking with you guys about some of these sales numbers. And of course, I'll be touching base only in the comment sections and on my Discord for my patrons for all the stuff that's going on with the reserve list. We are going to talk about this. It is crazy. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being there. Have a great day. A big shout out and thank you goes out to all the fantastic patrons we have on the channel, for all my supporters out there who allow for this daily content by being a patron or a YouTube membership member. Thanks again for that support, everyone. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another video. Have a great one. Wow, welcome back, guys. Ramble Jamble time. I can't believe this, okay? Those numbers were totally off the... Orcish Bowmaster, Esper Sentinel. There are some cards here that shouldn't be on the list that are. That is a tremendous amount of sales volume. And it is going to send the wrong message to Wizards of the Coast. Because they're not going to interpret it the way it needs to be interpreted. They're going to interpret it as sales. They're not going to see as people trading in cards or other people who have, a gift card from a store that they're using up. They are just going to see it as sales. They're not going to see the 20% off coupons or 25% off flash day sale. They are going to see sales. That's the only lens they're going to look at it, and they're going to wonder how they can cash in, how they can twist it a certain way to benefit the company. And it freaks me out because it's going to get bad. May not happen right away, but it's going to be that way. But you made it to the Ramble Jamble. You've made it to the end. So I'll give you a tidbit. I'm going to give you guys a tidbit. Reserve list sales. We saw one, what was it, about a month and a half ago, where it was like closing in on like $1 million type thing. Yeah, it's going to be past that. Okay, it is going to be insane because there's lots of cards that don't make the list, but the cards that are making the list are expensive cards. I can't wait to share it with you guys. Crazy.